So what is up, guys? Nick here. These are my favorite iPhones in order. This video comes about because people often say, Nick, what is your favorite iPhone? Which iPhone are you using? It's like I'll make an objective review or try my best to do so, and someone will just say, well, no, I want to know which phone you're using. And these are my favorite in order. And I'm sure a lot of you who know Apple have already named these in your head from first to last here. And for those of you who's got that correct, here's a cookie. Nah, I'm just messing. But a lot of people, contrary to popular belief, think that my favorite iPhone is the SE just because you probably found my channel through this phone or you've seen a ton of videos, and that doesn't make it my favorite phone. I simply was answering the question that hundreds, maybe even thousands of people had on that device. It just was pretty popular here. That doesn't make it my personal favorite. And I know some keyboard warriors, some little boys are gonna be, still saying it in this video. This guy's obsessed with the SE. You could shut up and have a cookie because you need one. Anyway, let's go on to my first favorite, which is the iPhone 8 Plus. Now, the iPhone 8 Plus has, take the first spot, and a lot of people are gonna be like, well, are you kidding me, Nick? Seriously, bro? The iPhone 10 is way better than the iPhone 8 Plus, but to each their own, I say, it's personal preference. But the iPhone 8 Plus, because it has a larger screen area, is the main reason why I choose to use this more than the iPhone 10. It's weightier, it's heavier. I don't like that fact, but I do like the fact that most applications are perfectly optimized for the iPhone experience here on the 8 Plus. And having the home button, it's kind of nice to still, have that, classic home button, but that's not a big deal. What the big deal is mostly the screen size. Everything just feels bigger for the iPhone 10, watching this cool documentary, Merchants of Doubt. But it's just, bigger screen is the main reason. Yes, the chunky bezels I don't really appreciate too much, but at the same time, they give you something to hold on to. And also the fact that, all the Plus model iPhones have landscape mode, which is pretty cool. This one's on the, bigger zoomed in aspect. So this one I don't have the landscape on, but that one will show it in a second. iPhone 8 Plus gets the first spot due to mostly its size, and also having this nice red color is a benefit as well. Second favorite as well, of course, you see the iPhone 10 right here. Now the iPhone 10 makes the second spot due to its comfort in the hand, really comfortable, and its beautiful design where the screen comes all the way down to the edge. Really nice stuff. Most phones have a chin. The iPhone 10 says goodbye chin, but it does have a pretty decent unibrow up here, or whatever you want to call it, notch. You know what it is. It's got a big notch up here, bigger than most phones, but at the same time, it also cuts into your content on many applications, especially in photos. If we go to a photo right here, you can go like this, and you see how it cuts in to the content. So the notch is not the coolest thing here, but it's a necessary step to the all-screen design, I feel like, for Apple. But the iPhone 10 mostly gets second slot because of its OLED screen. I love the Super AMOLED screen. It's just beautiful on an iPhone. It's a lot different from LCD, and the inkier blacks make this a joy to use. Plus, its narrow, taller body makes this probably one of the most comfortable iPhones you can use, but that screen is just not that big in real life compared to kind of how it looks on the video, or even compared to an iPhone 8 Plus, which makes me believe that the iPhone 10 Plus is just going to rocket in sales, because I think a lot of people want a bigger version of this phone, and Apple knew what they were doing by releasing the small one first, keep the business going, launch the bigger one next year. Come on, we know what you're doing. But the iPhone 10, second slot for those reasons. Battery life better on the 8 Plus for me. That's why it goes first as well. Next up is the iPhone 7 Plus, mostly for the same reasons that I like the 8 Plus, and that is the screen size, big surface area. And the reason why I like the 7 Plus quite a bit is it's big, but it's also light. The iPhone 8 Plus is significantly heavier than the 7 Plus, but it does offer wireless charging, something I rarely ever use. But the 7 Plus, almost all the same attributes as the 8 Plus, just a much lighter phone here in this device. Still has that A10 CPU, 3 gigs of RAM, so it's still a monster in the performance department, and it will be updated for several years to come. So 7 Plus, definitely a thumbs up for me. Third favorite iPhone on this list. Number 4 is surprising, the iPhone 6s Plus. Now, the 6s Plus gets this slot because of this guy right here, the headphone jack. That's why it's my number 4 favorite phone. And again, I just seem to like those Plus phones, as you've seen throughout this video. It's got the same attributes as the other ones on this list, and you know, it gives you a headphone jack. Also, I really liked this silver model just because it kind of felt like the, you know, 2015 MacBooks and stuff like that. I actually have a 2015 MacBook laptop, and this one feels like a great companion to that. It didn't have the dual camera, but the single camera on here is almost as good as the 7 Plus, so very good stuff. The only problem I had with the iPhone 6s Plus was the battery life. It has that clicky traditional home button, no capacitive here home button for the 6s Plus, but man, the headphone jack is just nice to have on an iPhone experience, especially considering all the new ones don't have that anymore. And I know a lot of people don't really care, but the biggest downfall for me with the iPhone 6s Plus is the single speaker. It's pretty tinny here on the 6s Plus. So let's go ahead and put that down. I have to turn this one off because that's severe battery drain. But let's go on to the iPhone 7. This is my 5th favorite iPhone. And if you notice something, there's 2 iPhone 7s on this list. 7 Plus and 7 both make it here because they're both fantastic phones. Now, the reason I got this one here is because I really like the 4.7-inch screen. It's a really, you know, compact body, and it's still big enough. It's not like a tiny screen here for iPhone 7, and that's mainly why the 7 gets here. You're probably asking why not the 8, and mostly because the iPhone 8 is a slightly heavier than this phone, and I tend to prefer very light phones, except for, you know, these two right here. These are, you know, 180 and 202 grams. I just tend to prefer a featherweight phone, and the iPhone 7 and 8 are almost the same phone. Just the 7 is a little bit lighter, and it has this nice matte black color here and has more color options than the iPhone 8. Also, what I really liked about the 7 was the 3D touch just felt a little bit more refined, especially when, you know, you were pressing on it. It has like this little haptic feedback that just felt better than on the 6S series. So great little phone here. There are some downsides. I don't like the resolution, 326 pixels per inch. Definitely is noticeable when you compare it to other devices. I don't like, again, that this one doesn't have a headphone jack, and the bezels are, again, pretty large for a 4.7, but still super compact, super light, super easy to use. It's a great upgrade for people that, you know, wanted a bigger iPhone but had like an iPhone SE, for example. And lastly on my list of my favorite iPhones in order, this is my last favorite, the iPhone SE. So I talked about it earlier, not being my number 1 favorite. It's actually my least favorite, but it's still in my favorites, mostly because it's a great pocket phone for when I go doing some cycling, or I go doing some running, or I just need something very, you know, inconspicuous, something that's just out of the way here, and I could just cover in my hand. I want to see people seeing my phone. This phone's got a lot of benefits. I mean, it could be, sometimes you barely know it's in your pocket though, because it's so light and tiny that you're like, where's my phone? You're like reaching for it. Oh my God, did I lose it? That happens a lot for the iPhone SE, for me anyway. I don't know if you guys experienced that as well. And the design, I really like the design. I always thought Apple should have brought this design to the larger iPhone. It would have been nice to see that this design there, but now this design is starting to look even older, more classic. But at $130 to get into the iOS ecosystem, this is the cheapest way you're going to get in the iPhone SE, and it's still pretty fast. It's holding its own with this A9 CPU, and I think this is actually holding up better than the iPhone 5S did for its time. So the iPhone SE is still a very fast phone. We will be covering it on iOS 12, and it makes my last favorite iPhone due to its portability and pocketability in the size department. And it has pretty good battery life for a tiny phone like that. Anyway, that is my favorite iPhones in order: the iPhone 8 Plus, iPhone 10, 7 Plus, 6S Plus, 7, and iPhone SE. You might have noticed that the iPhone 8 was missing from this list, as well as the 6S, the smaller one. They didn't make the list because I'm more into the Plus phones. Personally, I got big hands. You see these big old hands, and that's about it. So I got a question for you. Which is your favorite iPhone? Is it here on this table? Is it not? What is your favorite iPhone? Comment that down below. Which iPhone are you using, or which iPhone are you planning on getting this fall? This feedback is important because it helps me to decide what I'm going to bring to the channel as well. And if you found this video helpful, enjoyable, entertaining, informing, do me a favor, click that like button for me. And if you're new here, consider subscribing for more. I got plenty of videos on all these iPhones. If you have questions like, should I buy this? Should I buy that? A lot of people will come to this channel, they'll see one video and they don't understand that I've already created most of the questions you're asking. So just type the question you're asking followed by Nick Ackerman, and likely you're going to find that video related to your iPhone. Thank you very much for watching. Nick here, helping you to master your technology. Be sure to be well. I will catch you all in the next episode, and peace.